Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boys? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. And welcome to another live edition of Sports and Fitness Rants. You guys know the deal on this channel, man. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys, holding these guys to a standard, man. And you guys know in this live, we're going to be talking with my man AOH today. He's going to be a guest here today, man. He's going to, like I said, the czar of the video footage is going to bless us with his presence. And we're going to be talking about not only the video that he put out this morning, but we're also going to be talking about, Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan, always took the blame, always took the accountability, the responsibility, for whatever was going on with the Chicago Bulls, the wins or the losses. It was Michael Jordan. The burden was always on him to step up as the leader. So once again, I want to thank everybody out there, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man. Like I said, everyone that's been supporting my channel, man. And here's AOH, man, right on cue.
What up?
What's going on, man? I want to go ahead, man. Give your intro, man. Thank you for blessing me once again, man.
I gotta, this microphone is really good at canceling out noise. You guys can't hear my music, can you? I was gonna go mute it, but you can't even hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
All right. Hey, sorry for being a minute late.
Nah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it at all. I figured it was on my end. I thought maybe you had to come on as we were going live. So no doubt, man. AOH, like I said, the czar of the video footage is here with me, man. And like I said, I was telling everybody out there in the intro that I want to be talking about, not only the video that you put out this morning, which was very, very interesting and very, once again, telling and highlighting all the things that we've been alluding to in our videos and basically, like I said, proving us 100% on the money. And I also want to talk about the comments that you made last week in regards to Michael Jordan and how he always had to take accountability. The burden was always on Michael Jordan to take the blame for the wins, the losses, whatever was going on with the Chicago Bulls, and how the narratives have always been the complete opposite as far as accountability and responsibility for LeBron James, man. So I want to talk about those kinds of things, and we'll branch off into other topics, man.
Yeah, I listened to you a little bit this morning, and Anthony Davis and how much Anthony Davis does for that team. And I was just trying to imagine an announcer back in 1986 saying something like, "Oh, Dave Corzine isn't playing tonight. What are they going to do?" The Bulls are screwed now.
Oh, man, listen, you're right on the money. Before we go any further, I want to send a thanks out to my man, Joseph Jack, man. Shout out to Joseph Jack, who came through on the PayPal. I forget I even had a PayPal. So shout out to my man, Joseph Jack. You guys know that I don't solicit for money or any of those kinds of things on my channel. So shout out to Joseph Jack. I saw your message. He sent me a video request about the NBA and possibly instituting a rule where, you're forcing these guys to go to college for, 4 years or something like that, because the fundamentals of the game have completely been, lost as far as the game. So shout out to my man Joseph Jack for coming through with the PayPal, man. And just shout out to all you guys in the chat already, man. I see a lot of people already out here in the chat. Shout out to all you guys for real, man. Hit him. My man Hit him was always there. Renee 43, Andre Carter. My man Infamous Styles, who came through last time on my live stream. Chris Garcia, my man Chip Ferguson, what up? Hayden Phoenix, Jamar, Birdman, Armand Smith, Exotic, Self-Made. What's going on, everybody? DC, what up, guys? So LH, why don't you when you that video, was there a reason why you put that video out, yesterday, or why you were, I'm assuming you've been working on this video because, they said the work that you did in that video is my goodness, man. It's right on the money, man.
Well, I have a lot of projects started like that, and they take longer. And the thing is the daily stupidity of the NBA, the daily stupidity of LeBron James, it's a constant onslaught. So a lot of times I think, I can make these older videos when all of this craziness is over with. The subject will still be there. And I know on your channel, a lot of times you defend yourself, people saying, "Oh, why are you always talking about LeBron?" Like, well, because the media is always lying about LeBron. If they would stop lying, you, myself, wouldn't feel compelled to come on the next day and be like, "Well, here are all the lies that you just heard. and here's the truth. So, I mean, that's a pretty good justification. You know, we're trying to keep up with history, and some people are waking up, and it's important to keep those people appraised of reality.
Yeah, I mean, AOH, I was watching the video this morning, and the things that struck out to me in that video were the things that you were talking about. How, when we're talking about a lot of this stuff, it's almost as if people are trying to make it seem as if these things have just been going on for the last several years because LeBron James has been aging and now that he's old. So, LeBron James is in his 22nd season. He's 39, he's 38, he's 37. And you're talking about he's not playing defense, or you're talking about he's lollygagging, or you're talking about XYZ. And what I've told people many times on my channel is like, listen, these things have been going on for years. The way that LeBron James carries himself, the poor sportsmanship, the lack of leadership, the flopping, the game that you are highlighting in that video, when you talk about standing in certain spots or standing around watching your other players do something, the lack of help defense. I mean, when we're talking about those kinds of things, it's not just happening over the last several years because he's gotten older. He's been doing these things for a while. And I thought that was very telling in that video. That's 2007. That's damn near 20 years ago, guys. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, I guess if I had to say one thing that was better then is that he wasn't flopping the way he is now. I mean, he may have. I may have just not gotten to it, but the way the flopping is now, it's clearly gotten worse.
Yeah, well, you highlighted something also in there along those lines. You highlighted about how when there was a certain play there where, I don't know if it was Manager Ginobili, I believe that was maybe guarding him at maybe the free throw line, and LeBron James did the panted back up and lower the shoulder into Manager Ginobili's chest, right? And it was called an offensive foul at that time. And today what we're seeing is plays like that, similar to that, are not being called offensive fouls now. And you talked about how the officiating has kind of taken a really drastic turn for LeBron James in those kinds of aspects. You also highlighted a couple of times where Tim Duncan was called for a travel when it was clearly, to me, it didn't look like a travel to me. But how you talked about that was like the scrutiny of the game. But once again, the standards of LeBron James, I mean, how many times have we seen this man take 3, 4, 5 steps out there and nothing's called? And, like I said, that was one of the things that you touched on also in the video.
I've seen Pippen called for that. I've seen Jordan called for that. I've seen Worthy and Magic called for that. Yeah, you couldn't take a step before dribbling. It's just a whole nother world now. It's crazy. It's so offensive to hear them not only disrespect the past, but talk about today's players being more skilled when we have lowered the rules to accommodate their lack of skill.
Exactly.
By the way, this is not streaming to my channel. I think I couldn't hit that option because you were already live before I walked in here. I don't know if that is a big deal or not.
Oh man, yeah, like I said, man, you deserve the video footage, man. I hope I didn't jack something up.
It's up to you if you want to. I don't know if it'll make a difference. We can keep just going like this, and apparently I'm going to be out of focus all day. I don't know what the hell's happening. Nice shot of my microphone. I can't fix it. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Is that me? Is that on my end? You're out of focus?
No,
no. Listen, man, we're rolling right now, so let's keep rolling, man.
All right.
What I'm saying? I feel like we're hitting it right now. What I really wanted to focus on, though, with that 2007 NBA Finals, or what that video footage really highlighted, is what I wanted to touch on, the comments that you made, last week when you talked about, the responsibility and the burden of Michael Jordan to always, take the blame. What do we hear now a lot of times? Oh, Michael Jordan was 1-9 without Pippen. What did Michael Jordan win without Scottie Pippen? As if Michael Jordan was literally the only player in NBA's history who had a good teammate or had any help at all. And when you hear the LeBron James fans anyway, or the people like Nick Wright or the Shannon Sharps and, people like Colin Cowherd, when they ever talk about the 2007 NBA Finals, it's always spoke of as a carry job, a quote unquote carry job for LeBron James. He carried these bums to the finals. Oh, LeBron James is so great. He carried the 2007 Cavaliers to the finals. Michael Jordan could have never taken that Cavs team to the finals. They always try to talk about that. So what are they trying to do there? What they're giving you is an excuse that LeBron James couldn't get it done, but it wasn't because he wasn't good enough. It's because he didn't have enough help. he was carrying bums out there. So when you look at the video footage that you put out of the 2007 NBA Finals, which I actually watched the 2007 NBA Finals live, because once again, a lot of LeBron James fans probably weren't old enough to watch the NBA Finals in 2007. But if you watch those finals, then what you'll see is what you highlighted once again, that LeBron James did not play good, did not play up to snuff, did not even play up to the level he did in the regular season. He played down a level. He did not raise his level to play. And that's the burden that we're talking about. The burden was always on Michael Jordan to raise his level to play. Every single one of those finals, people act as if the Bulls had a cakewalk. Every one of those finals, there was a moment there where Michael Jordan had to either raise his level to play or have the Bulls, tumble down into purgatory. So these are the kinds of things that we have to highlight. LeBron James, on the other hand, for the 2007 debacle, the man averaged damn near 6 turnovers a game in those finals. You talked about the lack of coordination, the lack of footwork out there that he exhibited in that video footage. But yet and still, the blame is never on him. It's they lost because he's out there with Jonas Ilgauskas, and he's out there, with Anderson Varejao, and he's out there with Drew Gooden, and he's out there with Boobie Gibson, and they like to throw the names out there. But once again, it's never been about the names on the back of the jersey. Those guys, like you highlighted, Daniel Gibson in that video, these guys were stepping up. They were actually doing their jobs. They were doing their jobs. LeBron James wasn't doing his.
And, Ilgauskas was tasked with Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan had pretty low numbers compared to his normal numbers. So instead of complaining about Ilgauskas, you could instead say, wow, we would have really been destroyed if not for Ilgauskas and his great work on Duncan. Thing is, these LeBron fans don't care about the truth. They don't care about the reality. Did any of them go and look for themselves when they heard the narrative put out that LeBron carried bums? No. It's what they wanted to believe. And I actually heard Uncommon Sense say this yesterday. It's very simple, but I don't know if anyone's ever said it out loud like this. They chose their truth and then started working backwards, looking for evidence to support their truth. It wasn't like with Michael Jordan, where you watched him and then one day you were like, okay, I'm going to have to give it to this guy. With LeBron, it was, here, you're the GOAT. We're going to tell everyone that you're the GOAT, and they're going to believe that you're the GOAT based on nothing. And the rest of your lives are going to be spent making excuses that allow you not to change your original belief, which was based on nothing in the first place.
Absolutely, AOH. Right on the money once again, man. You're right about that. We got a super thanks, a super chat out here from my man Hayden Phoenix. He says, should we consider AD for MVP? The Lakers look like a high school team without AD. He's the whole team's defense, day and night difference without AD. Shout out to Hayden Phoenix. Once again, they are true supporters of our live streams of my channel. Thank you very much. And, what's funny is I mentioned Anthony Davis in a bunch of videos, obviously, the way that the season has played out. And as far as Anthony Davis as an MVP candidate, you can easily consider him maybe a top 5, maybe a top 10 MVP candidate, because like we mentioned, the difference between the Lakers when Anthony Davis is not there is, like my man Hayden Phoenix said, it's night and day. The defensive impact that he has that sometimes doesn't necessarily show up in the box score. I mentioned oftentimes, and I don't want to get too sidetracked with this, but I mentioned oftentimes when Anthony Davis has to do that people don't think about. So let's say Anthony Davis has a game that he has 17 points, he has 9 rebounds, maybe a couple of blocks or whatever. And LeBron James has one of these games where he has a triple-double, 27 points and, 12 rebounds and, 13 assists. The thing that people don't realize is in that game, the reason why at the end of the day LeBron James will have a -7 in that game is because Anthony Davis has to, once again, play his man on defense. He has to cover for LeBron James, who's supposed to be giving him down low support. So when we talk about these rebounds, what have I told you guys many times? LeBron James will have a game where he has 13, 14 rebounds. He maybe has 1 offensive rebound, maybe, but oftentimes he had 0. And that goes to the lack of support that you're not giving Anthony Davis. So now Anthony here's the cover for LeBron James. Here's the cover for Austin Reeves. Here's the cover for everybody out there, man. So Anthony Davis is definitely an MVP for the Lakers, absolutely. Is he like a real true candidate? Like, is he going to win it over SGA or Nikola Jokic or maybe Giannis or something like that? I don't know. But if the Lakers were to Let's say LeBron James went down with his foot injury and he had to miss like a month or something, and the Lakers went on a run and Anthony Davis propelled them, then yeah, I would say Anthony Davis is definitely in there then, man, because that would highlight his impact. See, that's the problem for Anthony Davis. He has a burden of playing with LeBron James, man.
Yeah. And unfortunately, these NBA players today are so inconsistent. It's hard to fully support them. Like Anthony Davis is very talented. Anthony Davis is a great defender and a great offensive player. He runs the court. Like you said, he's like covering a man and then has to come over and try to block the man that just blew past LeBron. And unlike LeBron's help defense, Anthony Davis was actually guarding someone prior to coming over and helping. And then all LeBron does is go pretend like it's the corniest fake. Oh, look, I'm kind of interested in playing defense. I hope everyone bought my little. But there's some guys out there there's a very small group of guys out there that you actually can have faith in. You're like, he's going to bring it. Yeah, Anthony Davis, you still have to be a little bit worried.
Yeah, because you made me think about how many times that you show in the videotape about Anthony Davis doing all the dirty work down low, boxing out, and then LeBron James pops up with the rebound on the stat sheet.
Yeah, it reminds me. I'm going to do a little side video. Maybe I'll go live Friday to thank my supporters. But some LeBron fans will get on those videos that I make exposing LeBron's rebounds and then be like, what do you want him to do? Not get the ball? And that's stupid in the first place. But then I got to thinking, yeah, actually, I don't want him to. Why? Because anyone could. Anyone could. So why does it need to be LeBron James with the designated no effort, scoop up the ball from the ground rebounds, especially when you guys are going to turn around and use it as evidence that, oh my God, look what he's doing when you look at the numbers. So yeah, guess what? I don't want him to. I want the people that were actually doing the work to get those rebounds. LeBron, get your ass somewhere else and do something helpful instead of just standing there waiting for the bullshit stat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, this is what we're talking about. I wrote down some stuff here. Like I said, that I wanted to make sure that we had a little bit of things that we made sure we touched on. And, when we were talking about that 2007 video footage that you put out, and we're talking about that burden, and you talked about the 1986, against the Boston Celtics, and you were talking about, how that was a, best of five, the best, the best out of five. And, how that's different from, the 7-game series, and how we talked about many times, when people talk about Michael Jordan being one without Scottie Pippen, they're often alluding to Michael Jordan losing to those teams, teams like the Milwaukee Bucks in that first rookie season, teams like the Boston Celtics, who happen to be, the championship contenders or the champions, every damn season, of the early to mid 80s when Michael Jordan was coming in. And we talk about, once again, the narrative surrounding those losses. The narrative surrounding those losses was always, well, Michael Jordan couldn't get it done. It was Michael Jordan couldn't get it done. Oh, the Bulls are not going to win with a guy that just shoots the ball all the time, who was just a scorer, things of that nature. It was always Michael Jordan. Like I said, in the interviews, when they asked this guy in the post games, when they're losing to these teams, he's not blaming his teammates. None of those things are happening. Whenever I say here, a lot of the coaches, from Michael Jordan's early years, they were always talking about how Michael Jordan was coachable, how he was willing to listen. We think about he had 3 different head coaches in his first 3 seasons. A lot of people don't talk about these things. And he was always willing to be, like I said, to adapt and adjust to the role that he was going to have to play. The role that he played when he first came in that first year or two was a lot different than the role that he was playing when Doug Collins came in. Doug Collins had him doing everything out there on the court, running the point guard essentially more often than not, highlighting all of the things that he could do. But once again, were the Bulls going to be able to sustain a longevity or be a consistent contender with Michael Jordan having that burden? Because once again, taking that burden upon him that we talked about LeBron James not doing, even in some of these finals recently, later in his career. LeBron James, think about the 2015 NBA Finals, for example. The narrative behind those finals is what? Oh, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love got hurt. That's literally the narrative behind it. So it excuses LeBron James for, once again, look at the numbers. They like to talk about numbers for LeBron James. Look at the numbers. Look at the video footage that LeBron James put out there. The Cavs were up 2 games to 1. 2 games to 1 without either one of those guys. And what happened? They lost 3 games in a row. And at the end of games 4, at the end of games 5, in the video footage, like you've shown many times, LeBron James is missing layups. He's missing game-time shots, game-winning shots. He can't play defense against Andre Iguodala. But the narrative is Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving got hurt. Why is the narrative not LeBron James did nothing to step up and stop someone like Andre Iguodala from, once again, getting an MVP? And someone like Matthew Dellavedova goes completely unmentioned, unnoticed, like a Daniel Boobie Gibson, because the job that he did on Steph Curry kept Steph Curry from winning in Finals MVP. Think about that as far as the 2007 NBA Finals. Like you mentioned, those guys, Drew Gooden, Jonas Ilgauskas, Vanderson Varejao, they collectively held Tim Duncan from capturing a Finals MVP. They held his numbers in check enough where Tony Parker had to step up, raise his level of play in order for the Spurs to win. But my man LeBron James didn't do that.
Yeah, I remember that little Aussie, and he hustled his ass off. That guy was a worker out there, Dellavedova. And of course, he's just going to get thrown under the bus like everyone else. You know, Michael Jordan, I said this in a video in the past, he's so close to perfection that it's actually a problem, because these LeBron people will go and find those few things that went wrong and be like, oh, look what Michael did. And all you have to do is look at one game from LeBron's career, and he's already equaled to as many times as Michael Jordan has screwed up. For example, like, think about how much emphasis is put on Jordan getting stripped in the 95 playoffs against Orlando. Well, LeBron James had 24 turnovers in that playoff series against the Spurs. 20 effing 4, man. Come on. Your team can't win with you turning the ball over 6 times a game and having fewer assists than you had turnovers. I mean, you know, I think that a turnover is at least double the detriment that an assist is a positive. Like, it's harder to overcome a turnover than it is to say, oh, look, that assist is what propelled us to a victory. It's not that hard to throw a pass to somebody next to you. But when you turn the ball over, you not only didn't score for your team, but you often caused the other team to score on a transition situation. And everyone else is just left like, fuck, dude, we just got down to this side of the court and you lost the ball. Or at the end of the game, you know, when the Cavs were sort of kind of making a run, LeBron James turns the ball over 2 times in a row.
Yep.
Like, these things should not be erased from history. That's exactly why people win or lose. He is why his teams lose.
You're right, AOH. The things that you just said, man, are right on the money. Those are the things that the true, like I said, the true fans know about, that the LeBron James fans are blind to. When you talk about those moments in the game, the timing of the shots that LeBron James takes, this is why you have no impact. If you come down the court, LeBron James, like you said, he'll chuck up a 3-point shot, let's say, an ill-advised 3-point attempt, when we all know LeBron James not shooting. He'll shoot that with no one under the rim. So you give your team no opportunity to get the rebound. So he'll chuck up that shot, but coming back the other way, what will he do? He'll stand there. Either he'll look at the shot, or he'll be mad that someone didn't get the rebound, or he'll be mad that someone didn't make a cut at the right moment, and he'll stand there on the court and then give up 2 points on the other end. That's why you're scoring, your numbers, they have zero impact. That's why you're not doing anything. Those are the moments that you're talking about. Yo, shout out to Uncut Hoops. He's out here in the chat. He says LeBron James has never had help, never had a super team, never had an all-star. He's been playing 1-on-5 every year. And he's right on the money. Those are the narratives that are surrounding LeBron James every single season. What's the common denominator every year, no matter where LeBron James goes? They never has any help. It's the common denominator. But who's the common denominator there otherwise? It's LeBron James. So everywhere that he goes, he never has enough help. Even though teams have made draft pick changes, they've sacrificed their futures. They've lit their whole franchise on fire. I posted a screenshot earlier of Rambo First Blood. When Rambo's leaving at the end, when he's walking off, I posted that screenshot. And I said that's how the Laker fans feel right now. Because if you guys know that movie First Blood, and you know what happened at the end of that movie, the moment that, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, that he had. And basically the man flipped out. He went nuts. And it's like, damn, man, everything that I'm seeming to be doing is not right. Nothing's going right for me. All I wanted to do was to come back and be left alone. All these people wanted their damn franchise back. That's all they're asking for. And they're like my man John Rambo out there being taken away in handcuffs, man.
Shout out Uncut Hoops. That's another off-season thing for me, reacting to his videos. I've queued a bunch of them up, but like I said, there's an onslaught of ridiculousness going on in the NBA. And this, and I got to work on real world stuff, not this. But shout out Uncut. Yeah, it's very upsetting that you have to explain this to LeBron fans. Like, LeBron's just had the worst luck of anyone ever. And Michael Jordan had the best luck of everything ever. At some point you have to realize that if everyone else is the asshole all the time, you're the asshole. Sorry, I cussed on your channel.
Yeah, you're right. No, AOH, I want you to continue to do you, man, and be who you are, man. That's why you're here, because you are, once again, the czar of the video footage. Like I said, man, you are an inspiration, man. I was watching your videos before I was even on YouTube, man. So don't ever apologize to me, man, for what you're doing, man. Like I said, man, we all look at you as, like I said, man, inspiration. So shout out to my man AOH, man, once again. Something else I wanted to touch on, though, real quick, AOH. And I know you've heard of this before many times. That's right on what we're talking about, as far as the burden that's placed on Michael Jordan, and not just Michael Jordan, but a lot of the all-time greats. When you think about the moments that they've had, and like I said, the leadership that they've shown, taking that ownership on. Like I said, the good and the bad is when we think about the shots for someone like John Paxson and Steve Kerr versus how they're trying to remember them versus the shots for Kyrie Irving and the shots for a Ray Allen, and they're trying to say and tell us that Michael Jordan is saved by John Paxson and saved by Ray Allen, or by Steve Kerr. But LeBron James, he wasn't saved by Kyrie Irving or saved by Ray Allen. That's how they're trying to remember these things. Once again, the standard and the burden of Michael Jordan, he has to be saved, when we all know in reality that's not the case.
Well, and those were both game fives. LeBron James was facing elimination. Michael Jordan wasn't. So it wasn't saving anyways. And you've seen my videos on that. I've done breakdowns on how ridiculous that narrative is. What the situation is that Michael Jordan has scored all the points for the Bulls up until that point, and everybody is focused on Michael Jordan, and he finally passes it to somebody else and they do their job. But you're going to call that saving? The guy that has carried the team the whole game and a teammate does his job? That's not saving. That's doing your job. And there's nothing wrong with doing your job. I don't have anything bad to say about Paxson or Kerr as players. But again, when they try to rewrite history, you go back and you end up pointing some things out. And it sounds like criticism of those guys, but you need to stop trying to turn role players into gods in order to keep up your false god.
Right. I mean, like you said, anyways, that's a game 6. So even if they don't make those shots, they still go to a game 7. They're always trying to rewrite the history. That's why I always say in my intros, you're trying to rewrite the history and make it seem as if they miss those shots, then the Bulls lose. Oh my God, if Kerr didn't make that shot, they lose the championship. If Paxson doesn't make that shot, they lose the championship. Something else that we have to also mention when, John Paxson makes that shot, once again, those were the only points scored by anybody other than Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter. So when we talk about John Paxson making that shot, he only has the ability to make that shot because Michael Jordan kept the Bulls in the game for him to make that shot. So those are the things that I'm talking about when they're trying to rewrite the history of the game. And like I said, put the burden on Michael Jordan and make it seem like he was saved out there, when no, it was in fact Michael Jordan who had to raise his level of play. The man averaged 41 points a game in the series that Paxson hit that shot. You're not saving anyone out there. And we talk about the Steve Kerr shot. Once again, man, Steve Kerr was assisted by Michael Jordan. And not only that, he told him on the bench, listen, dude, I'm coming to you if they double team me.
Yep. I'm sorry, I was just laughing. I read Moldy Apple's comment. I'm not sure
Isn't
how
that
to
great?
feel. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
I told you have true loyal subscribers, man. They support my man AOH out there, man. So shout out to Moldy Apple.
Are my clothes on in that poster? Or is that one of my shirtless poses from the day?
Oh man, that's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, and it gets worse. I had to cut that video where I cut it because of attention spans, but the capping done by both Van Gundy and Mark Jackson gets real crazy in that. It gets real crazy, man. I put a little taste of it in there, but it gets real crazy.
Oh my God. Man, some of the things that they were saying is crazy.
Doesn't that I mean, that it's evidence early on that everyone was said, okay, you've got to praise this guy no matter what he does out there, because he was bad. He was bad. And they kept saying, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with this. It's fine. He's letting the game come to him. He's missing everything and not helping anyone. Stop acting like that's what the game coming to him looks like. I don't know. I won't spoil it. I'm going to go ahead and do a video on it. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. And that's why we always say you're not educating the people out there. You're not giving them the facts. I saw a video, of you that you did. It said something about it was Reggie Miller, and Reggie Miller said, yeah, nice pass. In the middle of saying nice pass, it was a turnover though. But Reggie Miller didn't even wait for LeBron James to make the pass and see it all the way through. He's actually complimenting LeBron James before the pass could be completed. That's how stupid these guys are. You're not educating anyone out there.
Oh, what a pass.
I was laughing when I heard it. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a second. Did he just say what a pass before he even made the pass?
Before he made the pass. I mean, and he was all emotional about it. And even if he'd completed the pass, it was a straight fucking forward pass.
He made a bounce pass on the break. And Reggie Miller said like it was Magic Johnson doing a no-look pass.
Skip Bayless, a hater, has disrespected Jokic and other players like that for several years by calling LeBron James the best passer. He hasn't been anywhere near the best passer. But again, even LeBron haters are telling lies. It makes it really hard for people who already can't think for themselves to have a clear thought.
Yeah.
What was your original topic today? Because it wasn't my video.
No, I told you it was like I said, it was the timing of the video was perfect because it was right in line with the comment you made. I wanted to talk about Michael Jordan and how we mentioned 1995. And I mentioned that last live, and you had some comments, and in those comments you were saying about how Michael Jordan, once again, when you think about that series, you think about Nick Anderson stealing the ball from Michael Jordan. But what I was highlighting was, once again, Reggie Miller. Scottie Pippen didn't step up in that series and average 27 points a game or average some astronomical amount of points and, raise his level of play and basically lift Michael Jordan up and lead Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan never had the ability to take the back seat, like you mentioned.
I was looking up Scottie Pippen's high scoring games over his career, and he's had some. So it's not like it didn't ever happen, but I don't think the circumstances were, oh, you got Michael Jordan through a rough patch. I think Scottie just had some good games in his career, but I personally can't remember a situation where they were going to face elimination and someone else on the team stepped up because Jordan wasn't doing well. Maybe it happened. I can't think of it though. And by the way,
no, that was the Jordan.
Some people say don't compare them, and I agree, but we're not really comparing them. I'm pointing out how they are polar opposites. They are really polar opposites, which shows how absurd it is to say that they are a number one and a number two.
Well, right, because that's what we've been saying. They're comparing them. Every one of the media is comparing them. They keep telling us, like you said, he's right behind Michael Jordan. That's literally one of the main reasons why I started this channel. Is because I woke up one day, I turned the TV, and they're trying to sell me LeBron James right behind Michael Jordan, man. And I'm like, wait, what world are we living in here, man? That's not the case. And that's what we're talking about. There is no comparison with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. What we're highlighting right now in this live is we're talking about the burden that was always placed on Michael Jordan as far as the media, as far as how everyone viewed these people. Michael Jordan had to take that role. That was the price of leadership. So when people complain about, oh, Michael Jordan got all the shine, Scottie Pippen or some of these other clowns out here, yeah, no duh. Because Michael Jordan also had to take the blame in 1995. You didn't take the blame, Scottie Pippen. Did no one take the blame in none of these series? Where was Scottie Pippen in 1988? Where was he in 1989 to take the burden? When he got elbowed in the head in Game 6 and he didn't play anymore. He played 2 minutes in that game. No one puts the burden on Scottie Pippen. They don't even talk about these things. Where was Scottie Pippen? He talked about the migraine game. Did Michael Jordan blame Scottie Pippen? No, he did not. Everyone said, hey, Michael Jordan didn't get it done against the Pistons. He's 1-9 without Pippen. It's all the things that we're hearing, man. I want to shout out to Animaniac89 who came through with the super chat. Salute, fellas. You guys are a true dynamic duo. Yo, thank you very much. Much respect to you guys out there, man. We appreciate that. Oh, we got another super chat. Derek77. SF rants, Lediddy gets Bronny drafted, yet he's crying for a big man and more help. I don't want to hear it. Yo, Derek77, I heard that. Anthony Davis and LeBron James both talking about they need a big man. Anthony Davis saying, I play better when I'm the power forward. I don't want to be the center necessarily. We need a big man. But like you said, Derek77, you had the team. You forced their hand to draft your son, LeBron James Jr. And like we saw last night, LeBron James Jr. is not NBA ready. He's not going to ever be NBA ready as far as I can see. And once again, these are things that we're alluding to. The Lakers sacrificing their actual season, actually having someone else on that team that can help you and contribute just for LeBron James in that one game, the first game of the season, so they can have that moment. That's all it was about, for a moment.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy that they declined the opportunity in All-Star Weekend. I'm like, for all the hype that you guys want and historic moments that you want, obviously you're dodging potential embarrassment here. And let's be clear, Anthony Davis doesn't just want a big man. You know, they won't be satisfied with a serviceable big man because the Lakers have a few 7-footers and also cycled out several 7-footers. They don't just want a big man. They, of course, always want the best in the league. And they don't just want the best big man. They also want the best point guard and the best shooters, anything to help make up for LeBron James. Because Anthony Davis, while he makes up for a lot, still can't overcome LeBron James. But he got a bunch of worthless points in a blowout loss again. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. He must be great. But did people not understand? I mean, how do you not look at Maxi's numbers that were greater than LeBron's in a win and realize, wait a minute, everybody scores points like this now. It doesn't even mean anything. Like 31 now is like scoring 15 in the past. It just isn't. It just doesn't mean the same thing, especially considering that LeBron James violates the basketball rules on just about every one of his field goal attempts.
Man, you're right on the money with the when you talk about the scoring. And something else that you hit on also when you bring up Tyrese Maxey, and we think about the narrative, you know, coming into the season was what? LeBron James was a top 7 player in the NBA. And there were only a few players that were better than LeBron James, according to ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, who once again supposed to be educating the fans out there and letting you know the real facts about the NBA season coming in. If you guys remember how Kobe Bryant was being treated on his way out of the NBA, they were ranking him like number 30. They were ranking him like, I don't even know what they were ranking him. They were ranking some crazy numbers. And Kobe Bryant always laughed about this stuff. But where are they ranking LeBron James? And you think about someone like Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey is way better than LeBron James is right now. I've mentioned Norman Powell in some of my videos, and how to me, Norman Powell has been a much more consistent and a better overall player this season for the Clippers than LeBron James has been for the Lakers, man. But they're going to tell you, Kane and Jet Smith, that LeBron James is the second best player in the NBA. But other guys like Tyrese Maxey and some of these other guys, man, have clearly shown that they are better than LeBron James is clearly and have more of an impact on the game.
And who is Powell? You know, I mean, I know who he is, but who is he? And I in that Clippers game, I can remember specifically LeBron James dodging Powell's dunk. Dunk was ready to dunk on his ass. He dunked the shit out of that ball, and LeBron didn't contend it. He ran down the court and said, "Nah." And Maxey did it, or Powell dunked with his left hand, so LeBron wasn't going to block it. He was going to get posterized badly. And that's what happens now. You'd rather save face than actually make a defensive play, right?
Hey, wait, you hitting all these things, man. You're right. This is what we're talking about. When you talk about, going up and contesting shots, that's very important. What you just mentioned, guys now shying away from those things. It's similar to the slam dunk contest. Guys would rather not do the contest in fear of getting hurt, or something like that. Instead, they'd rather protect themselves. The same thing that you just mentioned. These guys, instead of challenging these dunks or challenging guys to the rim, instead of playing consistent defense, they'll rather turn away and walk away and let guys have wide open dunks. Shout out to Infamous Styles 301, who came through in MJ book and Bulls documentary. MJ himself said Scottie set the tone every game, but he doesn't get credit. Ha, ha, ha. Stop it, Scottie. And you're right, my man, Infamous Styles, you're right. This is what we're talking about. Scottie acts if he never got the credit from Michael Jordan. Yeah, maybe the media didn't give you the credit that maybe you wanted or you thought you deserved, but Michael Jordan always gave you your just due.
I almost wonder if Jordan giving Scottie those compliments didn't plant seeds in Scottie's head, and Scottie started, instead of being thankful for that, started thinking, oh, maybe I was the man. Because I've done some videos, and I know people don't like the Scottie hate, but I looked at that Last Dance documentary, and I was like, wait a minute. Some of this is over the top complimenting Scottie Pippen, because he didn't really do all that. Like, some of these things just weren't quite true. And, Scottie setting the tone, maybe I got to go look at more games. But, when I started looking, I was like, wait a minute, Scottie was doing a bunch of Paul George type of crap, actually. So I don't know how someone like that sets the tone.
Right. And I think that leads right into what social media superhero says here. I think MJ gave Scottie too much credit, and he says ... on purpose. And that's the key there, on purpose. Because what he's talking about there is that we all talked about how Scottie Pippen was weak mentally when he came in. He was soft, right? And he needed that big brother. He needed Michael Jordan to show him the way, to show him the standard, right? To be the enforcer for the Chicago Bulls. So what he's talking about there is about giving him the credit. These are the kinds of things that Scottie Pippen needed. Like LeBron James needs his ego massaged. Scottie Pippen needed all those kinds of praise heaped upon him internally. Whenever you hear people say, oh, you heard Phil Jackson say that Michael Jordan, the second three-peat, Scottie Pippen was the best player in the Bulls. He was the best player in 1996. He was the best player in the Bulls. That's what Phil Jackson said. Why do you think Phil Jackson said that? Because Scottie Pippen needed to hear those kinds of things from a Phil Jackson publicly. That's why Michael Jordan said that in 1996. Hey, man, I just came back. I'm still doing my thing. Scottie Pippen's the best player in the Chicago Bulls right now. He knew Scottie Pippen needed to hear that, man. He didn't want to take no shine from Scottie Pippen. He needed Scottie Pippen mentally there, man. You guys on the money. That's why those guys always praise Scottie Pippen. That's right. See, he says exactly sports and fitness rants. That's what I meant. He knows the deal, man. There was something else I wanted to touch on with that video. And the main thing that we need to, wait a second. I think we have another super. We got another super chat up in here. My man Animaniac 89 is coming through again. Watching AOH's video reminded me how polished Gibson was as a rookie. Not being able to maximize Gibson is a clear failure of LeBron's leadership. Boobie Gibson could never have been BJ Armstrong level. Or could have been BJ Armstrong level. My God, yo, Animaniac, you literally reading my mind. I was about to go into with that comment when you talk about Boobie Gibson and LeBron James' lack of ability to maximize people, man. Hey, wait, what do you have to say about that?
What video was I showed Armstrong on the bench, and I was joking about if the roles were changed. I'm like, well, there's BJ Armstrong about to get traded away. Instead, BJ Armstrong was a solid contributor, but LeBron James has never wanted to develop people. He wants people to already be established stars and come in as mercenaries at the top of their game, not have the camaraderie of developing together and then it all coming together. And as basketball fans, I think we all also miss that, seeing the teams go through the struggles at first and then find their way and come together as a unit to defeat the enemy. That was pretty inspiring to watch. Watching all these mercenaries move pieces around and just try to get everyone who's the best at the same time, it just reminds me of the cowards out on the pickup court that don't want to compete. We've all seen those guys that kind of like wander off to the side and are just trying to make sure that they get picked up onto the ultimate team out there. And the other team's left with like a freaking 10-year-old and a 45-year-old and well, I shouldn't rip on 45-year-olds. I'm older than that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yo, there's some fool here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, AOH, but there's some fool here who says, or some random clips, he's a random idiot. He says, Animaniac, the guy who just sent the chat out, who did Jordan maximize at age 22? And what he's trying to do there, once again, is acting as if LeBron James at age 22, not maximizing or helping Daniel Gibson come along, is a knock because Michael Jordan didn't do that when he was age 22. What did the Bulls do before Michael Jordan got to the Chicago Bulls, my man Random Clips? He literally lifted that entire organization his first year into the postseason, where the Bulls hadn't been for many, many years before that. What did Orlando Woolridge lead the Bulls before Michael Jordan got there? He led them nowhere. So what did he do at age 22 when he first came in the league as a rookie? He lifted all of those guys, all the guys that we mentioned that you don't even know of, the Dave Corzines, the Quentin Dailies, right? The guys that you don't even remember. He lifted all those guys in his second year. John Paxson, his second year, he lifted all of those guys. Who did he maximize? You sound ridiculous. And when we're talking about maximizing, we're not talking about 1 year, age 22. We're talking about LeBron James and Daniel Gibson going together for years and developing that chemistry so that by 2008, 2009, 2010, all of a sudden now you guys became a unit. Like you mentioned, you're developing that team over the years. You guys,
I'll tell you who. John Paxson was on that team, and John Paxson stayed on that team, and John Paxson became a better player. It doesn't happen that same season. Seriously, random moron with a moronic comment. And you're also conveniently ignoring the fact that Michael Jordan was the best player on the Olympic team at 21. He led the Tar Heels at age 19. How do you define maximizing somebody? Here's the real problem with somebody like that. You didn't go watch. Before you made your stupid comment, you didn't bother to go watch whether or not Michael Jordan made any of those people better, because Michael Jordan had a lot of assist attempts. Michael Jordan was really, honestly drawing the defense and dishing to people. People want to pretend that he was just a ball hog and didn't do that. That's bullshit. It is bullshit. So he did maximize what he had. And you know what he had? He had a Cocaine Gervin at the end of his career who scored zero. Oakley would have probably been the best player on that team. And what do the Bulls do? Trade him away.
And listen, you make a good point with Oakley.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you made a good point on Oakley, how they trade him away. And once again, was Michael Jordan the disgruntled employee? Did Michael Jordan ask to be traded also when they traded away one of his best friends, Charles Oakley? When Charles Oakley, like you said, was starting to develop with Michael Jordan. Charles Oakley was a very good player, man, or a good player. And he could have been even better playing all those years with Michael Jordan. But what you see is in the small time, the small sample with Michael Jordan, the impact that he was able to have, the dynamic that he was able to have with a Michael Jordan. Hey, shout out to Jim from Self-Research NBA Facts coming through in the chat. He says Daniel Gibson scored 31 points on 9 shots in 2007 Eastern Conference Finals Game 6, while LeBron James going 3 for 11. Yo, shout out to Jim, man. Thank you very much, Jim, for coming through, man. What's up, man?
He's been debunking some of those things on his recent shows. Again, good stuff, great work, self-researched. I touched on the Daniel Gibson 31 points in the video I published this morning. I moved quickly. I didn't spend too much time on it, but it's in there. Yeah, but good point. 3 of 11. 3 of 11. LeBron James.
Right. And those are the same bums that LeBron James has been carrying. And one more narrative I want to hit on, and then we could move on to something a little bit different. But I want to talk about the word bums that LeBron James fans like to use when they're talking about LeBron James teammates, anyone that played with LeBron James. When we were growing up, the people who are fans of Michael Jordan, like I said, a lot of the players from these other eras, you always looked at the teammates of those players as role players. They played their role. That's what we called those guys. I mentioned it several times, where these guys were called role players. And that was never a negative thing. That was always a positive, especially when you went out there and you played your role, to a certain level. These guys developed reputations for that. I mean, when you think about someone like Vader Microwave Johnson, for example, he's literally called the microwave because he heats up off the bench like a microwave. That was his reputation. That was his role on the Pistons. When you brought Vinny Johnson in the game, this man was going to come in there and he was going to drop some buckets on you, and it was going to be damn hard to stop this guy when he gets going. That's what his role was. You think about someone like Michael Cooper, for example, who was not a starter, also came off the bench, but was one of the lockdown elite perimeter defenders of his era. So much so, he makes the Hall of Fame on the strength, wins the Defensive Player of the Year award, while he's not even a full-time starter, man. So these are the guys who had roles. They were role players, even though they were maybe great players or good players. They were still role players because that wasn't a knock. These guys wanted to play those roles, and the great players allowed those guys to play their roles. LeBron James, once again, doesn't allow the other players to play their roles. He forces them to adapt and adjust their game, something that Michael Jordan was willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, role player does not mean bum, idiots. But you guys actually aren't satisfied with role players being role players. You want the role players to do better than LeBron James. Otherwise, you call them bums. Like when LeBron James has had success, he's had people on his team as good or better than him. He's been in Miami. He's the second or third fiddle. Back in Cleveland, Kyrie was more dangerous than LeBron. And who knows what Kevin Love could have done, because we saw what Kevin Love was doing before he went and had his career destroyed by LeBron James. And now all these people who were reduced, these people were stars. These are mercenaries, reduced to role players, and then consequently being called bums. And that's what LeBron James does to people.
Exactly. Once again, that you're talking about, you diminish how people are viewed. You diminish what they can do, their impact on the game. And like you said, there were people who, it's funny, like when you talk about Michael Jordan's teammates, they're often spoke about and they're remembered for being greater than they were, right? Oh, Steve Kerr was an amazing player. He knocked down every three-point shot. Michael Jordan played with the greatest three-point shooter of all time, they'll tell you. Oh, he's the best three-point shooter of all time. But when you watch the games and you look at the numbers that Steve Kerr was shooting for the three-point line in the NBA Finals, this man was shooting worse than Ron Harper. He was shooting like 27% or whatever he was shooting in the NBA Finals. So when people talk about Steve Kerr, you're looking at the numbers on paper, but you actually don't know the game and what he was actually, or what his role was to do. He wasn't necessarily there to knock down three-point shots. He was there to knock down shots overall, open shots. Michael Jordan drives the lane, he kicks out to you. You're supposed to step into that shot and knock it down. You're supposed to come off the bench and play defense, give the effort on the defensive end. Is Steve Kerr a defender? No, but he gave effort on defense. You can see in the video footage. That was his role in the team. But they're trying to tell you that Steve Kerr now is like Steph Curry back then. That's not the case, man. So he's remembered to be greater. LeBron James' teammates, on the other hand, are remembered to be worse than they were. So Dwayne Wade's really not that great. Chris Bosh is okay. Kevin Love is no one. Kyrie Irving has more 40-point games in the NBA Finals than Scottie Pippen has 30-point games in the NBA Finals. And Scottie Pippen played a hell of a lot more NBA Finals games than Kyrie Irving ever did. So I don't know what the hell people talking about out there with who had more help or who didn't have help.
And that's part of what made the Steve Kerr story special, was that Steve Kerr was actually having a bad series, and Jordan still trusted him with that shot, and he hit it. So, hey, that's pretty cool. Look, I came through when I really, really had to. But the LeBron fans are erasing the first part of that. He wasn't any help prior to that shot. And it's not that Steve Kerr wasn't any help at all. He was a solid player. But guess what? What was he averaging? 3.4 points a game? Can you imagine a LeBron fan? Can you imagine what a LeBron fan would say to a teammate of LeBron's that contributed 3.4 points a game? Like, they want everybody to be a 20-plus point contributor and be a great defender, you know?
Like you said, it's never enough. LeBron James and his fans, they're the grass is greener on the other side kind of people and things of that nature, man. That's how they always come across. You know, they always need another trade. They always need someone better. There's always something else that, like you said, that they need that's never good enough. You need a 20-point per game guy. You can't have a guy that comes and gives you 8 points and plays solid defense that you have to, let him play his role, let him do what he does. You need someone to do everything out there. You need a guy to dominate the glass, to play defense, to cover up for your mistakes, to hustle out there. He needs J.R. Smith to know if there's a timeout left. He needs everyone to know everything that's going on, but he yet is supposed to be the highest IQ, to guard all positions, right? The greatest player of all time. It don't add up.
It doesn't.
Should I open up? Does anybody want to call in? Should I open up for people? What do you think?
Sure. I can't stay much past 10, so go ahead and open it up.
All right, what time you got over there, man?
I should be out of here. What?
So then let's just be and you. We'll wrap it up in like 10 more minutes, AOH.
Okay.
Because I got things going on too, and if you got things going on too, I think the show's been great, man. We really hit all the points that I really wanted to talk about. Some of the things I had jotted down. So I'm good with, like I said, ending it in like 10 more minutes. Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead, AOH.
Well, we'll do a follow-up, because there's more to talk about on this. We're only scratching the surface, Yeah,
so. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, AOH. Definitely, man. I definitely agree with that. If anyone has any questions out there in the chat, if anybody wants a question, you don't have to super chat or anything like that. If you have a question, if I see it, I'll try to answer. We'll answer some questions for you guys real briefly, man, and then we're going to log it off.
Keep it going, self-researched NBA facts.
There, man.
Yeah, self-researched NBA facts has some very disturbing information out there for you LeBron fans. And I'm going to piggyback on that stuff one of these days. When I'm done making my own videos, I'm going to go just put visuals to all of self-researched his videos. Thanks, Birdman.
Jim's got great stuff, man. He really does, and he's come a real long way. Like I said, with the delivery and everything that he talks about. The topics and the things that he pulls up are some things that people don't even think about, man. He really, like I said, if you guys don't know my man Jim from Self-Research NBA Facts, if you go to this man's channel, I'm telling you guys right now, he literally is what his channel title says it is. This man researches literally the facts that you guys probably don't even realize. So check my man's channel out. Like I said, he's official, man. He's a true fan of basketball, man. And like I said, he's out there doing his thing.
A lot of what he researches are bad narratives, and it's sad that the powers that be have allowed such bad narratives to exist and be propelled forward. As professionals, you shouldn't be allowing that. Self-researched NBA facts, myself, yourself. It's not that hard to go and look up what really happened. But unfortunately, we live in a time where you have to be willing to go and look up the truth yourself, because you've got the Stephen A. Smiths and you got the Shannon Sharps, even the Skip Baylesses. You're just not getting the full story. Shit, you're not even getting. You're not even coming close to the real story, much less the full story. Yo,
you're right. My man Ken S. He says, I just need the AOH and the SNF duo on a weekly schedule, man, with the fire emojis, man. I know we need to get a weekly thing going. It's really tough. I know with my schedule, I know you're a busy guy as well. You're always on the move and things of that nature, man. We try to hit you guys when we can, but we definitely would like, I think, like I said, when we did that stuff in the summertime, for me, the summertime is when I'm really free to do a lot of things. So we can maybe do that again, but it's really hard to do a daily or weekly thing, and like that's something that's constant.
Well, you have today off. That's the only reason you were able to do today, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I was off today, but like I said, I'm coaching my son's basketball team. I coach my son's baseball team. I coach his flag football team. So sometimes I got practices, I got games going on. My daughter plays soccer, things of that nature. So yeah, life is just, busy sometimes, as we all know. So it's hard sometimes to do that weekly schedule, but we try to hit you guys when we can.
Yeah, we would definitely do it more if the schedule's allowed.
Yeah, we don't want opposite sides of the country and stuff like that. So the time zones are completely are the difference. That's my man Ken S, man, a true supporter, man, true supporter.
You're back to work on Friday, right?
Yeah, I'll be at back at work tomorrow.
All right.
And I'm trying to see if anyone asked. I thought I saw something.
I'll probably go live Friday.
Wow, what's up?
I'll probably go live Friday morning.
If I could jump in there, maybe if I'm on break or something like that, I try to jump on with you real quick. I tried to get in last time, but I couldn't get away from from the job, man. I was there, but I couldn't really get in.
Oh, when I was surprised.
We got Go ahead, AOH.
What was I talking about? Oh, I was surprised that you thought that it was okay to boo at the Ring of Honor ceremony. Wasn't that the day you were going to call in?
Yeah, you're right. That's right. I couldn't remember what the topic was. Yeah, you're right about that. It's man, I'm the thing about that. I guess I know you have to go soon. I don't want to go too long. But the thing I actually did a video about that topic because I found it very interesting that they did that at that moment, and I said that I didn't necessarily say or agree or say that I would have booed in that moment or that's something that I would have done or something that I looked at as a classy move, like you were mentioning. The thing that I said, though, is that this is what we talk about when we mention the words like, what you leave as your legacy. And I talk to people a lot of times about, how money's not really important to me and how money really doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of life and how people are going to remember you. You think people are going to say, oh, you remember Robin? Oh, yeah, he was really rich. That's not what they're going to remember you by. They're going to say, yeah, he was an a-hole or, he was a really nice guy. He helped me out when I was down on my luck. I remember him as always being loud, and having all the energy. That's how they're going to remember me. So when we think about things like that and we talk about someone like Jerry Krauss, the legacy that he left for his wife, the legacy that he left for his family, the way that he made the people of Chicago feel about him, whether it was right or wrong, like I said, is on Jerry Krauss. The burden was on him because that's how he chose to be. So when we talk about, people in history and you hear people say, oh, you're on the wrong side of history, and maybe in the moment you don't think about this, you don't care. So you're going to act a certain way. But what do we see now? Now you see people tearing down statues. They're changing, taking down street names. Because what? Now they're starting to look at history, whether it's right or wrong, and they're starting to question some of these people and the things that they did, how they carried themselves, what they represented. So when you talk about someone like Jerry Krauss, for me, what he represented to the people of Chicago was a guy who had a Napoleon complex, so to speak, a guy who thought he was more impactful on the Chicago Bulls winning championships than really any other GM in the history. I mean, think about it. I say it all the time, LH. How many other GMs are brought up in the same breath with the other great player? They always talk about Jerry Krauss. Oh, it was Jerry Krauss who drafted all the guys. If it wasn't for Jerry Krauss, once again, the burden on Michael Jordan, he has that standard held. Who was the GM for Larry Bird's teams? Who was the GM for the Showtime Lakers? Who was the GM for the San Antonio Spurs? Who was the GM for the Lakers and the 3P? Can anyone answer me those questions? You know these people? No, you don't. You never heard about them. So when you have a ceremony for them, you're going to be like, who the hell was Jerry Krauss? Why would you boo someone you didn't even know? You didn't know Jerry Krauss. So that's on Jerry Krauss to be known by the people in a way, in a light, where they would even feel the need to boo you. Who boos someone when they don't know you? They would have read, hey, this is the wife of GM for many years, Jerry Krauss, the member who led the Bulls and drafted the. They would have been applauding him. They would have been, yo, I didn't even know this guy was. Who's Jerry Krauss? He died. When did he die? But instead, you hear about Jerry Krauss antagonizing people, and what are they turning around on? Oh, Michael Jordan was mean to Jerry Krauss. No, Jerry Krauss brought these things on. He really thought in his mind he was just as important as Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and that brings us full circle to today. People don't want there to be any criticism, even when you deserve criticism. You know, LeBron James deserves even more criticism that he deserves, or I mean, even more criticism than he receives. And what do you hear LeBron fans saying? Oh, he gets so much hate. Why do people hate him? Like, have you ever considered that there's a very, very good reason? Like
Exactly.
LeBron,
Those are the things that we're always talking about.
Jerry Krauss deserves criticism. My only topic that day was, do you hold your boos and keep your criticism for outside of the ring ceremony? But Jerry Krauss did everything that was highlighted in that documentary series, and it was despicable. You don't make announcements as your team's going into the playoffs and has been winning you championships that you're going to break things apart. It's just disgusting. It was definitely small man complex, especially when you compare it to today, where you can't get that. You can't get a team that's that solid. You can't get a star player and coach relationship that is that healthy. And Jerry Krauss wants to blow all that up. Like, you can't even buy that today with all the money that's in the league.
Right.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was a great show. We had like over 200 people in here. We still have over 200 people in here right now. Like I said, shout out to all you guys in the chat, man. I try to put some of you guys' comments up. Try to, shout some of you guys out and answer some of the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed, the things that we were talking about. And, we'll try to do it again. I'll try to come on your show on Friday if I can, AOH. Like I said, once again, man, you want to say anything before you go?
No, thanks everybody. I'm going to try and show you. I'm so busy editing. The footage takes a long time that I don't give the shout outs that my supporters probably deserve. So I'll try and go live Friday for that. And if you haven't watched this morning's video, I recommend it.
Yeah. So all you guys out there in the chat, man, like I said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. AOH, thanks again for coming on, man. And you guys know the deal, man. I will catch you guys on the next one, man.
See you on the next one.